Good evening, Solid Rock. I hope you are well. I really miss you. I miss the times that we have together, and I cannot wait for things to go back to normal. During this time, I have certainly had to learn how to be gentle. And that is exactly what the message is about today, is gentleness. Gentleness can be looked down upon as being weak, but it certainly is not that. It is quite the opposite. It takes so much strength to be gentle in a situation that calls for everything else but gentleness, especially the way that the world handles situations. The way that we can use gentleness in a situation is, for example, and this is a very good example, I think, the story where Jesus was arrested in the Bible. It goes in Luke 22, verse 49 to 51. I'll read it for you. When the other disciples understood what was happening, they asked, "Lord, shall we fight them with our swords?" Just then one of the disciples swung his sword at the high priest's servant and slashed off his right ear. Jesus stopped the incident from escalating any further by shouting, "Stop! That's enough of this!" Then he touched the right side of the injured man's head, and the ear grew back, and he was healed. And I think that is such a beautiful example of what gentleness is about. It was a situation where he was going to be arrested. The high priest and the soldiers came with clubs and swords and everything, so they were arresting him in a violent way. They wanted to force him. And I know many of us have been in a situation where we felt we were forced and attacked, and his reaction towards it wasn't in violence. He was willing to go peacefully, but his disciples, who loved him so dearly, decided that they wanted to stand up for him. And I've been in a situation so many times where I feel like one of my friends are being attacked and they aren't handling the situation the way that I feel it should be handled, and I'm like, no, but you have to fight back and everything. And then I just realized, but it's not right for me to stir up feelings in them of anger and hate and revenge and everything. And that's something that I had to look inside of myself, to realize, but gentleness is the way to handle a situation. The scripture also says that a soft answer turns away wrath. In other words, when someone does attack you, being gentle towards them can, turn them off the road that they're going on, basically the road of anger and reacting in a bad way constantly and hurting someone else because of their own hurt. And yes, gentleness is allowing God to deal with others so that we don't have to take matters into our own hands. It's really just, especially with that verse that says a soft answer turns away wrath, it confuses people because they're like, I just treated you so badly. How can you react this way towards me? And that makes them really just step back from the situation and hopefully really take a good look at what happened and what's going on inside of them. And that's where God deals with them. Not in a bad way, because God is gentle. God is so loving. He's so kind. And He wants each of us to turn our hearts back to Him. And we can just, make a ripple effect, basically, by being kind to someone in a situation where you actually have to take revenge. You confuse them, and they step back and they think about it, and that's where God can start healing. That's where God can start working in their hearts. And that is why it has also been said that gentleness is the grace of the soul. Gentleness is literally having grace upon someone else, even having grace upon yourself. Having gentleness with yourself is so important. Many times we mess up, many times we do something and we can really break ourselves down. And I know that many of us are in the habit of doing this. And that's where we need to be gentle to ourselves. We need to have grace upon our own souls. We can't go breaking down ourselves and spewing very bad words upon us and changing our identity for the worse, because that's not how it works. That's not how God sees us. That's not how He loves. And this is a very beautiful verse that I think goes with that, is Colossians 3 verse 12. Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And I really think that this is not just for other people, but it's also for ourselves. When you clothe yourself with kindness, you have to be kind towards yourself. When you clothe yourself with humility, you have to be humble in the way that you look at yourself. When you clothe yourself with gentleness and patience, you have to be patient when you're not doing things right. And when you do mess up, you have to be gentle with the way that you deal with yourself. And most importantly is love. You always have to wear love. You always have to love yourself no matter what. And compassion is so important, the way that you see yourself. This goes for other people, the way that you deal with other people as well. But I think the moment you can start internally loving yourself, having compassion upon yourself, having kindness, being gentle, it's going to be so much easier to be able to do that towards someone else. So I really hope this message goes with you. I want to challenge you for the next week. Just have that word gentleness repeat in your head, and just meditate on it. Really think about it. When you go through something, think, how can I handle this situation with gentleness? How can I handle myself with gentleness? So I really challenge you guys. I hope you take the challenge and repeat it, and just see how different your week might be if you handle every situation with gentleness. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I really miss you, and I can't wait for when things get back to normal. Thank you guys.